become the 13th in NBA history to win 3 in a row.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
Players and coaches alone don't win championships that organizations do.
Granted, I think organizations put together teams, but at the end of the day, the teams got to go out and play.
Jerry Krause.
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 June 14th, 1998. Salt Lake City, 5.2 seconds left. Michael Jordan steals the ball. The crossover, the shot, championship number 6. The Chicago Bulls had just completed the greatest dynasty in basketball history. 6 championships in 8 years, the GOAT at his peak, basketball perfection. But this celebration would be their last, because 60 days later, the greatest dynasty in NBA history would immediately self-implode. It started with a draft pick, June 19, 1984. The Chicago Bulls, coming off a 27-win season, selected a skinny kid from North Carolina with the 3rd overall pick.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
Michael Jordan arrived in Chicago with a promise.
I said then when I got here in this city that we would be champions by the time I leave.
But one man doesn't make a dynasty. That takes an architect. Jerry Krause, 5'6", overweight, socially awkward. The players called him the Sleuth. But this man had a vision. In 1987, he rescued Phil Jackson from the CBA. That same year, he finagled for Scottie Pippen. Piece by piece, he built a championship machine. 1991, the breakthrough. The Bulls defeated Magic Johnson's Lakers for their first championship. 1992, back-to-back. 1993, the first three-peat. Jordan was unstoppable, Pippen was elite, Jackson's triangle offense was predatorial. But at the peak of their powers, cracks began to show. October 6, 1993, Michael Jordan shocked the world.
My decision not to play the game of basketball in the NBA doesn't mean I'm not going to play basketball somewhere else. I just feel that I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
For 18 months, the King was gone. The Bulls struggled without him, but Jerry Krause wasn't idle. He retooled the roster, added Dennis Rodman, prepared for Jordan's return. March 18, 1995. 2 words that changed everything. I'm back. The 1996 Bulls won 72 games, a record that stood for 20 years. They were better than before. They were perfect. Championship number 4, then 5, then 6. The second three-peat was complete. Jordan averaged 29.6 points per game at age 34. Pippen was the perfect wingman. Rodman was chaos incarnate. Phil Jackson was the Zen master holding it all together. June 14, 1998, Jordan's final shot as a Bull, the perfect ending to a perfect dynasty. In the locker room, still in their jerseys, Jordan and Pippen sat side by side. But even in victory, the dynasty was dying. The poison had been spreading for years, like cancer. Jerry Krause had built this empire, but he wanted credit, recognition, respect.
Players and coaches alone don't win championships that organizations do. I do sincerely believe that organizations as a whole win. One part of it can't win alone.
Michael Jordan heard that quote and saw red.
He said organization wins championships. I said, I didn't see organization playing with the flu in Utah. I didn't see him playing with the bad ankle.
The flu game, Game 5, 1997, finals. Jordan, sick with food poisoning, scored 38 points to beat Utah. That was a player winning a championship, not an organization. The relationship between Krause and his stars was toxic. Scottie Pippen, the second best player on the team, 6th on Bulls payroll, was making $2.775 million in 1998. He was the 122nd highest paid player in the NBA. Pippen had signed a team-friendly deal in 1991, thinking it would show loyalty. By 1998, he was furious.
Well, it's not to the point that
I want to, slap a shot back at management in any way. I'm not going to say that, I'm going to put one on. I'm not going to play there anymore. And that's that. And I have that freedom and I have that right to do that.
Phil Jackson, the coach who had won 5 championships in 7 years, was also in Krause's crosshairs.
Jerry Krause told Phil that, he can go 82-0 and he would never get the chance to come back.
November 1st, 1997, the Bulls ring ceremony for championship number 5.
Well, we're a 5-time champion going for 6. If we never win another one, we're certainly going to win the 6th one. And we need your support. Thank you very, very much.
Jordan addressed the crowd, but in the locker room, Phil Jackson handed out packets to his players. On the cover, The Last Dance. The Dynasty's death sentence had been announced before the season even started. They played the entire season knowing it was over. 62 wins, another championship, but the joy was gone. The 1998 playoffs were a war of attrition. The Bulls were exhausted. Jordan was 35. Pippen was hurt. Rodman was 37 and unpredictable. In the finals against Utah, Pippen could barely walk. He played just 26 minutes in the deciding Game 6. Jordan carried them, 45 points in Game 6. The steal from Malone, the shot over Russell, perfection. They had won 6 championships in 8 years. But this wasn't a celebration, it was a funeral. Michael Jordan, the greatest player who had ever lived, walked off the court for the last time as a Chicago Bull. He didn't know it yet, but Jerry Krause had already made his decision. Summer 1998, while other teams were making moves to get better, the Chicago Bulls were about to commit self-annihilation. June 22, 1998, Phil Jackson's agent confirmed he would not return to the Bulls.
Well, if I'm not coming back, my office is clean, so it's great. I don't have to make an extra trip down to the United Center and bust it down on the expressway. But we plan, this is our last year.
Michael Jordan had been clear about his position. January 13th, 1999, Michael Jordan announced his second retirement. One by one, the dynasty crumbled. Phil Jackson walked away after his contract expired. Michael Jordan retired following Jackson's departure. Scottie Pippen traded to the Houston Rockets. Dennis Rodman released. Steve Kerr traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Jerry Krause remained. The architect of the dynasty became its destroyer. But nothing was possible. In 60 days, the greatest dynasty in NBA history was dead. The 1998-99 Bulls were unrecognizable. New coach Tim Floyd, new players, new everything. They won 13 games, 13. The defending champions had become the worst team in basketball. The fans stayed away. The magic was gone. The Bulls had gone from 62 wins to 13 wins in one season, the largest drop-off by a defending champion in NBA history. For 6 years, they missed the playoffs. 6 years of irrelevance. 6 years of wondering, what if? 119 wins, 341 losses, the second worst 6-season record in NBA history. While the Bulls crumbled, their former stars proved Jerry Krause wrong. Phil Jackson joined the Lakers and immediately won 3 straight championships. Same coach, different organization. Michael Jordan, supposedly washed up at 35, came out of retirement in 2001 at age 38. He averaged over 21 points per game for 2 seasons. At 40 years old, he became the oldest player to score 40 points in a game. Still elite, still dominant. 51 points at age 38. This was the player Jerry Krause thought was finished. Scottie Pippen, traded away for being too expensive, remained an all-star caliber player until 2002. Steve Kerr won 2 more championships as a player with San Antonio and 4 more as a coach with Golden State. The clutch shooter Krause gave away for nothing. Let's do the math if the Bulls had kept their core together. 1999, Jordan at 36, still averaging 28 plus PPG. Pippen, healthy and motivated. Jackson's proven system. Conservative championship probability, 25%. 2000, the Lakers' first championship year. But with Jordan, Pippen, and Jackson together, 30% chance. 2001, Jordan at 38, still elite as proven by his Wizards years, 20% chance. 2002, the final realistic year, 15% chance. Mathematical exception, 0.9 additional championships. Realistically, they win at least one more, possibly two. That final shot in 1998 could have been championship number 6 of 8. Or 9. We'll never know. By destroying their dynasty, the Bulls changed NBA history. Phil Jackson's availability gave the Lakers their dynasty. Shaq and Kobe needed the Zen master, and they got him because Jerry Krause threw him away. The Spurs won in 1999, filling the power vacuum left by Chicago's self-destruction. For 6 years, the NBA had no dominant force, no dynasty, no team that struck fear into opponents' hearts. The Bulls had been that team, and they chose to dismantle. Jerry Krause got his rebuild, but at what cost? In 2024, 26 years later, Bulls fans still booed his name at a ceremony honoring the dynasty. Even in death, he couldn't escape the hatred.
Basketball Hall of Famer and former Bulls general manager, Jerry Krause.
When Jerry Krause's name was called and the people that booed Jerry Krause and his widow, who was accepting this honor for him, it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Michael Jordan never got his fairy tale ending. No farewell tour. No final championship as the aging king. Just an abrupt end to perfection.
Phil was going to be there. Dennis was going to be there. MJ was going to be there. To win our 7th, Pip is not going to miss on out on that.
Scottie Pippen spent years bitter about his treatment, his contract, his legacy overshadowed by what could have been. Every sport has its great what-ifs. What if Len Bias hadn't died? What if Bo Jackson hadn't been injured? What if the 2007 Patriots had gone undefeated? But none compare to this. The 1998 Chicago Bulls weren't stopped by injury, age, or salary caps. They were stopped by ego, unaddressed ill vibes. The 1996 Celtics won 11 championships in 13 years, but they were allowed to age naturally. The 1980s Lakers and Celtics battled until Father Time intervened. The 2000 Spurs sustained excellence for 15 years. The Bulls, they chose to end it at their peak after winning a championship. It's unprecedented in sports history. Today's NBA makes dynasties nearly impossible. The salary cap, luxury tax, and player movement have created parity. We've had 7 different champions in the last 7 years. The era of sustained dominance is over, which makes the Bulls' decision even more tragic. They had something that can never exist again. A homegrown dynasty with the greatest player ever in his prime, with years left to dominate. And they threw it all away. Let's quantify the destruction. Financial impact: the Bulls lost an estimated $200 million in revenue from 1999 to 2004. Competitive impact: 5 years without playoffs, 0 conference finals appearances until 2011. Cultural impact: Chicago went from the basketball capital of the world to irrelevant. Historical impact: the greatest what-if in sports history. The United Center, once the loudest building in basketball, became a mausoleum. Fans stayed away. The magic was gone. Despite maintaining high attendance initially due to Jordan's legacy, the Bulls eventually saw their fan base erode as the losing continued. Jerry Krause died in 2017, still defending his decisions, still believing organizations win championships. He was proud of 6 championships, but he could have had 8 or 9 or 10. This shot, Jordan's final shot as a Chicago Bull, should have been the beginning of the end, the natural conclusion to the greatest career in basketball history. Instead, it was the end of the beginning, the end of what could have been the greatest dynasty in sports history. The Chicago Bulls didn't just break up a dynasty, they committed the greatest act of self-destruction in sports history, and basketball will never forgive them for it. Today, we debate who's the GOAT, LeBron versus Jordan, rings versus longevity, but there's one question that haunts every discussion. What if Jordan had 8 rings? What if he had 9? What if the Bulls had been allowed to chase basketball immortality? A generation of fans will never know what sustained greatness looks like. They'll never experience the anticipation of watching a dynasty chase history, because one man's ego destroyed it all. The greatest dynasty in NBA history, destroyed by the greatest mistake in NBA history. In 2020, the Last Dance documentary became the most watched sports documentary in history. 24 million viewers watched the final episode. The world mourned what they had lost, what Jerry Krause had taken from them. Organizations don't win championships, Jerry. Legends do.